Our world promotes the masculine energy, logic, power, productivity, control. But your intuition, she doesn't live in your hustle. She lives in your softness, in the feminine energy.
For generations, women were shamed for trusting themselves, sensing things before they happen, and believing in their own power. No one encouraged them to embrace it until now. Welcome to Trust Yourself.
Heidi, here's my thought. I shouldn't say I think because I need to declare it.
Declare, bitches!
I declare.
I do declare!
Now I can't say it. Masculine energy built the modern world, but feminine energy is what's needed to heal it. That's truly what I believe. And I'm not dissing on men in any way. We all have both energies. We all need to start tapping into our feminine side to soften and surrender.
Balance, baby. We need both.
So yeah, men, it's okay. Start crying. Women, it's okay. Stop hustling. We got this.
Start crying for other reasons.
Stop. So in this episode, we are sitting down with the luminous Karly Ashworth, who is a gifted psychic, certified hypnotherapist, and mindset coach. She is also from Scotland, so she has a lovely Scottish accent. So I could sit and listen to her all day.
We really just like to attract people from other countries because we just want to hear them talk.
Yeah, just living out our own fantasies and dreams vicariously through them. Anyway, in this episode, Karly's teaching us what it truly means to surrender to your feminine energy and to follow your intuition. And Karly shares her powerful story of walking away from a lucrative career and very goal-driven career to follow a quiet inner whisper that led her to a deep spiritual alignment. We also talk about the difference between fear and intuition and how to know when you're in a spiritual awakening and why surrender is sometimes your greatest superpower.
It's like the hardest thing to do, though.
It's freaking hard, but it's so worth it.
I can't surrender.
We're still working on letting go. Let it go. Okay. Wow. Didn't expect that to come out. I'm just following my intuition here. Okay.
Love it.
Let me get through this. She also shares her goosebump-worthy love story. Which I love.
Man.
And why trusting your gut, no matter how weird or inconvenient it feels, is the real flex in your life. So if you've been feeling stuck, disconnected, or unsure if you even have intuition to guide you, I promise this episode will light something up inside you. So let's go.
Welcome, Karly. We're so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for chatting with us and sharing this time with us. We're so excited.
Me too. I cannot wait.
Okay, so first question, I just want to know, what was your life like before becoming the psychic coach?
My life before being a psychic was completely different. I was actually in a corporate career. For many years, I entered the financial industry, started at the bottom, worked my way up, and I worked with this company who had international business. I spent a lot of time in Europe and the UK. And yeah, I was pretty much in the material world. I had goals. I wanted a nice car, nice house, and I really got those things. I actually, on reflection, can see that those are the most easy things to manifest, right? And yeah, it was very much corporate led. I was very logically driven. I didn't really tune into my intuition a lot. And I think that when I'm in that space, I'm in a very masculine space. The corporate world tends to make females very masculine. And I can say that that was the space I was in. Logical, masculine, goal driven, materialistically driven. And something just didn't feel right, although my life on paper looked fantastic. And I was very grateful for all the things that I had been able to cultivate in my life. But something deep in my soul just didn't quite feel 100%.
I hear you in the corporate world and the masculine drive, because I wore power suits to my job like every day. I wanted to have that power stance and feel good about being a woman in the corporate world. And that's how I worked my way up with my power suits.
Those seasons are really powerful as well, though, because it really did serve me well. And I think that I had to live that chapter to have contrast now, because now I'm very much in my feminine energy, intuition, receptivity, and it is completely different to how I used to live. but I'm so grateful for the opportunities and having that knowledge now as well. But yeah, it's a very interesting way to live day to day, because it's not naturally in us women to show up in a masculine way, masculine dominated way every day. We have both energies in us all the time, but I think when you lead with masculinity all the time, it affects our nervous system, our health, everything.
Yeah. Even for the men too, like, right? Like men should also
Yeah.
tap into their feminine side too. You need that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of my clients who are male and they're very successful, they own successful businesses, they come to me to tap into intuition and to balance that side of them. And they're super successful. So I am seeing a huge shift. And that was a really important chapter for everyone who lived it and is still living it.
That's so cool. So I'm curious, when you were in the corporate world, was there like a moment where you realized that it wasn't really aligned with you, or was it kind of more gradual and you started to just feel off?
So I loved my corporate job at the time. It was great. I traveled. It was exciting. I was hitting all my targets. But there was one morning I remember opening the laptop and I was drinking my coffee and I thought, I want to help people, but I didn't know what that meant. I just had this epiphany. And at the time, Tony Robbins was really big and I was really inspired by the work that he was doing. I was seeing his workshops, and it was when life coaching was starting to become really popular. And I thought I would really like to be a life coach, although I didn't know what that meant. And I started to research it, and I actually went to the company I worked for and I said, you know, we are responsible for looking after the well-being of these massive corporate companies' employees, but yet we don't understand what makes them happy, what goes on in their mind. Would you be willing to put me on a course where I could learn to be a coach so that I can have more tools to do my job? And they were like, yeah, pick a course, we'll pay for it. And I was like, wow, right, okay. So that was my first introduction to this line of work. And it was just an intuitive thought that came out of nowhere one morning. And I would say that was my intuition speaking to me at that point. So I found a course. It was a year-long course and it incorporated everything: life coaching, NLP, CBT, and hypnotherapy. And at the time, I had no idea what hypnotherapy was. I thought it was a bit gimmicky, probably putting people to sleep, making them eat onions, you know. Like doing all these weird things that you see on stage. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. And I enrolled in the course. And as soon as I got there, I was like, wow, I am 100% meant to be here. And what was so crazy about it is that the course predominantly was hypnotherapy. The life coaching was actually a smaller part of it. And so I ended up qualifying as a hypnotherapist. And that was what connected me to my intuition. That part of it, it awakened my spiritual side. The teacher was incredible. I learned about the human mind, our psyche, our subconscious. It was like the universe led me, I've got goosebumps as I'm saying this, to my purpose that I'm living now. But that's where it started. And I'm so grateful to the company for being so open-minded.
That's so cool. So how soon after you took the course did you decide, like, okay, bye corporate, I want to just do this?
You know, it wasn't a quick transition, I'll be honest, because I was really tied to the security that job brought me. And I had a steady income, I had nice things. And for me to think of having a career in hypnotherapy or psychic ability, which I didn't have at that point yet, I wasn't quite tapped in. There was a few life events that happened before I got to the psychic side. But to even consider making money from something spiritual was just far beyond my thinking. In my mind, corporate was the way that I got success, I got security, I got nice things, and there was no other way. So it did take me, I would say, about 2 years before I fully stepped into it and took the leap of faith. And it was truly a leap of faith when it happened.
I feel like so many people can relate to that, like having that stable job. I know Sissy just recently leaving architecture, like that was a complete leap of faith. Like, we're doing this and it's scary, it's hard, it's terrifying. So props to you. Obviously, it was definitely the right move.
The universe does these crazy things where it gives you little nudges and knocks and it'll push you over the ledge, but you absolutely have to jump first. And then the path presents itself to you, which is really trusting your intuition. And that's what I love to teach people, is everything always does work out. You just have to follow what that intuition is telling you. It's your compass. It never steers you wrong, ever.
Absolutely. Okay, so fast forward to today, you're living in America, and you've probably noticed one of the first things Americans love to ask is, so what do you do for work? Because yes. Americans love to tie our self-worth with our work. So when that comes up, how do you explain to people what you do now?
So for a while, I used to hide what I did. And the truth is, I am a psychic. I'm a psychic and I'm a coach. And I used to hide it, especially in Scotland. And when I moved to America, I actually loved that about your culture, is that you embraced people's uniqueness and the intrigue, and you guys love to ask questions. I felt at home when I came to America, and I didn't feel like I had to hide that part of me. But yeah, when people ask, I just say, I'm a psychic. And then it's just like, oh my God, tell me about myself. Yeah. Tell me something. What do you see? What do you know?
Yes. And, do you see my grandma right now?
Yeah. And I love it because it's, the thing is with my line of work, it's actually not about me. It's what they want to know about themselves that they can't see. And I love being able to bridge that gap for them. So yeah, I just tell them I'm a psychic, but I'm also a qualified hypnotherapist and coach. And I blend all of it together, and it's like psychic life coaching.
Awesome.
I love this. So we've talked about intuition a lot before on this show, but I'm curious, Karly, how would you explain intuition in your own words?
So first of all, everybody has intuition. We're all born with it. It's a sixth sense, especially when we're younger, when we're kids, we're very intuitive and we have this imagination, and we kind of that's why we put ourselves in danger a lot. Toddlers are the worst. Like, they don't care. They're like, yeah, my intuition's got me, but we're all born with it, and everybody can perceive what intuition means differently. So there's a few different ways in which you can hear your intuition. Sometimes people have a lot of thinking mind intuition. So they'll have ideas. They're very visual. They can see concepts. People who are entrepreneurs, visionaries, and they have this futuristic thoughts all the time. That's their intuition speaking to them through their mental mind. You also get intuitive feelings through your body. So goosebumps, sometimes tears. So, when somebody says something to you and it hits you as truth, that's intuition speaking to you. If you're in danger, hairs on the back of your neck will pick up. Or if something's really off, something's not right, your stomach might turn. There's also the inner voice as well. So the inner voice, it can feel like there's just something that's nudging you. There's kind of this idea that gets implanted in you, and it's like, make a choice, do this, do that. It's very quiet. Intuition is quiet and fear is very loud, and that's how you can tell the difference as to how you navigate it. But there's different ways for everyone, and that's just a basic overview of what people would resonate with.
I think that's really important to remember that fear is loud and intuition is quiet, because also I know Sissy has talked about like anxiety can be really loud too, and people can confuse anxiety with intuition too. But yeah, intuition is quiet. That's why we have to quiet ourselves to try to hear her.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for our listener who maybe was you back in your corporate world, feeling like she's stuck in a job that looks good on paper, but she's just feeling like she is missing a spark, why does listening to her intuition matter so much?
So the intuitive part of us is the feminine nature, I would say, especially when you're a woman and you're tapping into that side of you. It's kind of guiding you back to your softness, to your, I'd say like your baseline resonance, just your balanced frequency, right? And that's where everything is created. So for anyone who's in corporate, the logical mind's taken over, the stress is taken over. I think you can operate from a place of scarcity, of needing security. You might make decisions that are people-pleasing decisions. You might be overworking to compensate certain things. And when you tap into the intuition, it allows you to surrender, and it allows you to hear what's right for you. So intuition is basically guiding you to a choice that leads you to your next highest path. And it's always what's best for you. So yeah, I mean, tapping into that side of you will not only help your nervous system, but it will help you to make choices in your life that's ultimately going to make you happier. And the corporate job is only one element of life, right? So I remember being in corporate and it was great. It was fast paced. I was doing all these cool things. I had all these stories to tell. But I wasn't well. I had put on quite a lot of weight because I wasn't eating great. I was on the road a lot. I was drinking alcohol so much because I was with clients. We were entertaining them all the time, corporate events. It was just non-stop. And I completely shut off my intuition. I wasn't paying attention at all. But my body was telling me, hey, you're tired. I would get sick a lot. And so, your body does keep score as well. So there's ways in which your body is going to tell you, hey, you're not listening to your intuition. You need to slow down. You need to stop. So I was just completely ignoring all the signs that was telling me this isn't for you, especially not at this pace. And so, you have to listen to it, even if it feels scary.
Yeah. So it feels like even if we ignore those nudges, the universe is going to knock us on our ass one way or another. Like it's going to it's just going to shut us down or cause something to happen.
So a great way that I explain this to people is the nudge, the knock, and the rhino. So the nudges are your intuitive feelings that you get. It's that internal quiet voice that says, hey, you need to slow down, might need to look at another job, this might not be for you. And you can feel it, but you push it to the side like, no, I want to make bonus this month and I want that nice car and I want to do all these nice things. Like, I've got this, I've got it handled. Then you get the knocks, and the knocks are external to you. So delays, clients not signing on, the boss being annoyed with you, like it feels like friction, restrictions, suppression. You can really feel the knocks when they start to happen. And what they're trying to do is guide you back inwards to say, hey, can you listen? This isn't right for you. And then if you ignore both, which we often do, you get the rhino. And the rhino is like, hey, you got made redundant. You've got 2 weeks notice. Away you go.
Incoming.
And that's actually what happened to me. So I ignored everything for years. And then eventually I got made redundant from that role. And if I didn't get made redundant, and I'm so thankful now that I did, I would have stayed there for so much longer because the money was just so good. It was so easy. I was the best in the sales team at one point. It became this comfort zone, and the universe was like, absolutely not. You're not staying in that comfort zone. Out you go. I got a rhino. And actually the inner voice had been telling me for so long, you need to read for people. You need to do this. And I was like, absolutely not. People will think I'm crazy. How am I going to read for people? I don't know what I'm doing. I'd never read tarot or anything in my life. My grandmother is my great grandmother. She was psychic, so it does run in my family. But we've always just thought it was a cool story, and I never assumed that I would have that ability. But yeah, I'm going through this corporate transition. I'm getting made redundant. And my intuition's telling me, read cards for people. So you could imagine why I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. People think I'm weird. And it just got so overwhelming that I was like, right, okay. So I got made redundant. The day after that, I went on Amazon and I ordered 2 decks of cards. They weren't tarot. They were just totally random ones that I was drawn to. And I was able to read them. I was like, wow, I actually think I can read for people. This is insane. So I put a post on my Instagram that afternoon and I said, hey, I'm doing readings for people. If you'd like one, just DM me. And I picked up my phone 10 minutes later and my DMs were full. Like, I have never seen my Instagram blow up like that in my life. And I thought, okay, I got goosebumps again. I was like, wow, okay, I'll do it. This is what's supposed to happen. And so that's where it started. And I had been booked ever since that moment.
I love that. Hey, everybody listening, I'll do your tarot if you want to send me a DM. Fill my DMs, please.
We got some crickets, but that's okay. No.
Okay, so I have to ask, why do you think we struggle so much to trust our intuitive nudges or to listen to our intuition?
It's a number of things, and it is different for everyone. So again, going back to that point about security, you might feel like you're in survival mode, or there's just certain things going on in life that you feel like you have to be in that energy of working things out logically, and you just can't break out of that part of you. The other part is that we're conditioned to look for approval outside of ourselves, and we trust a lot of structures and people that we assume are greater than us or know more than us. I think that comes from school and childhood and authoritative figures. And so we're always looking to someone else to tell us what's right or what's safe. And ultimately we are all born with this knowing inside of us. And when you start to trust it and you start to make good decisions from following the intuitive nudges, what happens is it strengthens it. So I always say intuition is like a muscle. The more you make a good choice, the more you follow it, the stronger it's going to become.
Yes, you have to exercise that muscle. And even if you do it with small things first, it builds that confidence.
Absolutely. Like that day, I took a leap of faith. I'm like, yeah, I might look stupid, but I can't ignore this anymore. Your intuition gets a bit repetitive. It's going to keep nudging you and nudging you. And if you feel like you've been getting an intuitive nudge, it's definitely something to explore. Just make a choice, even if it's a small one. It will guide you and you'll get more confidence as you trust it.
So as a coach, what is one of the biggest transformations that you've seen, either in yourself or one of your clients that you've worked with after they finally trust their gut?
You know, I love hearing client feedback stories because not always do I get to see how they've changed their life. So I'll give them information, psychic information. Hey, this is going to happen. And then I don't hear from them. They just go live their lives. I've had people who I've predicted babies for, and then I've received a picture of a newborn baby, like, hey, she's here. And like a screenshot of, you told me she was going to be here. And I'm like, oh, that one made me cry. That one made me super emotional. I have had people that have moved country, who have left marriages that didn't serve them, just massive events. A recent client of mine, so she was a teacher in Melbourne, and she was just not a corporate career as such, but very structured. And now she's moved into a part of Australia that's super rural. She's helping the tribes there. She's just in this completely different environment. She goes hunting for her meat with the tribe, and she teaches the kids. And it's this integration that's happening. And it's to hear her story and how her life's changed is absolutely incredible. But yeah, just massive life events. And it literally comes from one session, because all it takes is for you to have a new thought, to have belief, to be able to see that path for yourself, because most people desire a really incredible future. They want to have the babies and the marriage and the soulmates and the travel, the money. They want it, but they can't really see a path to it. And so when I read for people, I'm seeing the tangible path. I'm seeing the people they'll be connected to, and it gives them this level of truth within themselves that gives them the confidence to take the next step. So I think psychic ability bridges the gap between what they can see as possible and then what they make possible as well. So it's a blend of both. They have to want it and they have to be willing to walk the path as well. But yeah, massive life changes with my clients. I couldn't even pick one, honestly.
So cool. I love it. Also, I feel like that's exactly why Sissy and I are doing what we're doing now. It all started with a psychic reading. We had a psychic tell us, we were just on like a group call, and the psychic told us, oh, you guys are going to work together. And at the time I was a nurse, she's an architect. And we look at each other like, what are we going to do together? What is an architect and a nurse going to do together? And she, even though like it wasn't a video, it was just a phone call, she called us out.
She called me out.
She called you out. She's like, architect, I see you making faces right now. And she goes, I'm serious. You guys are going to work together.
I love it.
Yeah. Within a year, we had this idea and just started rolling with it. And it literally all started with just having that seed planted and then that idea. And then we started to believe it.
And everything else was organic. It
Absolutely.
just happened.
And here's the thing, if you go to a psychic and they tell you something, you also know when it's not your truth. So I've had a reading years ago and she told me something and she's like, yeah, it'll take about 5 years. And I thought, no, it won't. That won't take 5 years at all. That'll take me like 2. So I knew what she was seeing, but I also knew that her version of what it wasn't mine. And so there must have been a level of truth within what you guys knew was possible, and it matched what she was also seeing in your timelines, right? But again, I told you guys that story about years ago when I had kind of basically finished the life chapter I was in with corporate and my marriage to be and all of these things that were lined up for me. And I basically sold everything and I decided to just go on this journey. And at the time, I didn't have a partner. I didn't have a career as such. I just kind of started this concept. And I had this thought, like, I'm going to have a son, I'm going to have this child, and everything I'm doing right now is for this baby which makes no logical sense, right? I have no money at this point. I've just started a business. My house is up for sale. I don't have a man. Like, there's no way that this baby's coming anytime soon, or it just didn't make sense. But I knew it. And I have the text in my phone to a friend, and I'm like, I sound crazy right now, but I'm doing this for my son.
Oh,
Right?
full body chills, goosies.
And my friend's like, yeah, I can see that. Like, this is it. This is why you have to follow your intuition.
What a good friend.
I know, right? They're like, no, you're not crazy. And then fast forward, when I landed in America and I met my partner through absolute fate.
You have to share this story. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
please
It
share the
literally
story.
blew my mind.
So I landed in America, and I'd just been through a really turbulent time. You know, I'd came out of a long-term relationship. I was heartbroken. There was a lot of things that happened. And I came here, and I was actually just going to travel. This was going to be my first stop. I was going to go to Brazil and Europe and wherever, visit all my friends. I had all this freedom now. And I remember having a conversation with a friend, and I said to her, you know what? I'm totally done with dating. I don't actually care about finding a guy. I just want to live my life, and I'm going to focus on business and travel. And I looked up to the sky and I said, you know what? You figure it out. I don't know who I'm supposed to meet. You deal with it. And I left it alone. And the next morning, my phone starts ringing, and it's an Arizona number. So I pick it up, and the guy's like, hey. I'm like, oh, hey. And I recognize his voice straight away. We're talking for half an hour. We're talking about everything. And I'm like, when did I meet this guy? Like, did I meet him in a bar? Because I'd spoke to a lot of nice people. I'd dated a tiny bit, but I'm like, I can't remember this guy's name. I didn't want to be rude. Long story short, he never asked my name. He had to go into a business call. I call my friend and I say to her, this guy just phoned me. Like, when we were out last night, I wasn't drunk. Did I meet someone? She's like, no, that's weird. Block the number. That's a spam call. You have to block it. I was like, no, honestly, my soul knows him. I'm just going to FaceTime him. So we FaceTime each other. We look at each other, and we've never met. So we're like, wow, okay, this is weird. So he's like, well, do you want to go watch a game later? I'm like, okay, sure. And when he came to pick me up that night, as soon as I opened the car door, it was like we were long lost friends that hasn't seen each other for lifetimes. And I was like, wow, this is insane. And so we just clicked instantly. And fast forward pretty much a year to the date that we met, I fell pregnant. But the crazy part about this story is he actually had an operation not to have children. He's got 2 grown kids. He's done with that chapter. And so this soul was coming to me regardless of any barrier, any Western medicine. Like, this baby is here, and he'll be here in a couple of months. And
I'm so excited.
That text that I sent that day, like, I think I'm blowing up my life right now because there's a new one waiting, and it's for this child. Like, I have to go through all these things. And that's where the surrender part comes in, right? Is you just trust what your intuition's telling you. You surrender to the path. And can I just tell you, the amount of people that I have met on this journey, the people that are in my life now, they are so family. The work that I'm doing now is so fulfilling. And this path is available to absolutely everybody. And that's what I want people to know, is that this is what your intuition leads you to. It's your truth, it's your purpose, it's your destiny, and everybody can access it.
That's so cool. I think my favorite part of the story is that when he called, he was expecting to talk to somebody that he met the night prior at a bar, but yet he didn't recognize that you had a beautiful Scottish accent. I'm like, what?
So the craziest part of that story, which I missed out, was we were actually in the same bar the night before, but an hour apart. Yeah. So he was like, I met you it was the Global Ambassador here, which everybody loves here in Arizona. And he's like, you're at the Global Ambassador, shout out to Sam Fox. And
you're like, yeah.
I was like, yeah, I was. And he's like, yeah, I remember you. And I'm like, no. And that's why I called my friend, because I was like, I wasn't drunk. Who did I speak to? I cannot remember this guy. Like, where did he come from? And she's like, definitely not. That's really weird. I was with you the whole night. You need to block the number, blah, blah, blah. But what was funny, when we met, I did ask him about the accent. I was like, did you not realize that I didn't have an American accent? He's like, well, I didn't want to be rude because I was a little bit drunk. And I just thought maybe I would be rude if I was to ask that. And I had told him, I was like, yeah, I've been to LA and I love LA and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I'm going there tomorrow on business. Do you want to come on a road trip? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to go on a road trip because that's the perfect way to get to know someone. My friend's freaking out. She's like, absolutely not. Like,
you're going to die.
You're going to die. You can't go. Like, give me your location. And I'm like, honestly, I know this guy. Like, my soul knows him. And that was my intuition. Like, yeah, this guy has been sent because I asked for it. So yeah, it's destined. It was meant to be. And this is the thing with your intuition and trusting yourself, is these synchronicities happen and you get more and more of them the more you're open to receive them. You also get signs and you meet your soul family on the path. So I just feel like if anybody's at a point right now where they feel restricted and stuck, you just have to make one choice. You just have to trust your intuition a tiny bit. It doesn't have to be a massive leap of faith tomorrow. It just has to be one small thing that you do and start there.
I love this. Everything. As soon as you told us that story the first time we were chatting, I was like, oh my gosh, this girl has to share this story, because it's one of those literally unbelievable stories, but it actually happened. And it's one of those that helps you realize that honestly, anything is possible. And surrendering, it really just kind of emphasizes how important it is to have those surrender moments. It's really hard for me. I'm kind of a control freak. So I've been working on my surrender. I'm a Virgo, and it's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat that.
It was crazy because halfway through meeting my partner, I still had this feeling that I wanted to be in my masculine energy, and I want to lead, and I want to be in control of my path. So even although you do go into your intuition, you can still have those tendencies to be like, right, I want to control and I've got it now. I'm going to take the reins, guys. Like, you've done your good work. But I remember this time where we were going to the airport, and we'd been to the airport a few times. I was in my car, he was in his, and I remember him going through the ticket barrier, and I would always go behind him and we'd go through the ticket barrier. But this day I was like, I'm not waiting on him. I'm going to go through the other ticket barrier. So I went to the side, he goes through, and I'm pressing the button and it won't give me a ticket. The barrier won't go up. I'm stuck. He's calling me like, hey, why did you not stay behind me? I was like, oh, I just thought I would go in my own lane. And I had this thought in my mind, and it said, you have to follow him at his pace. He's guiding you. Oh. Then the ticket barrier went whoop, and then I was through, right? So these are like the little things that will happen to you when you're kind of tuning in, is there will be things in your physical that happens, but you also get this thinking mind or the intuitive nudges. And from that day, I was like, right, I'm learning something here. And honestly, the only thing that he couldn't give me was a baby. He could give me a family. And that was something as a woman that I had to come to terms with. And I surrendered to that as well. I thought, okay, maybe I will just focus on career, and maybe my purpose is to be of service to people. I'm okay with that. And then a few months after that thought, I was pregnant.
Surprise.
It's a total surprise for both of us.
I love that story, but also it terrifies me because my husband has a vasectomy, and I hope that doesn't happen to me, but I'm so happy for you, Karly.
If it's meant to be, that soul is going to find you, trust me. But
Karly, we're going to have to do a reading later. Make sure I'm done with 3.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, Karly. So I asked some of my TikTok followers, I let them know that we were interviewing a psychic coach today and asked if they had any questions. And I got some really interesting ones. And I was wondering if you'd be able to answer some of these. So one of them was, what is a spiritual awakening? And what are some of the signs that I might be in one without realizing it yet?
Interesting. Well, what I've seen working with many clients is that spiritual awakenings are triggered by some form of loss. So it could be loss of a loved one, loss of identity. Maybe you lose a job, or you lose a partner, or something happens in your life, but there's an external shift where something's kind of taken away from you and it makes you identify with yourself in a completely different way. So that's a great way to tell if you're going into an awakening. And to be honest, the timing is different for absolutely everyone. I truly believe that the first chapter of our lives is spent learning all these lessons. And then something happens, a life event happens, and the second chapter of our life is spent teaching people what we learned in the first half. So
I'm ready for my second half.
but yeah, I mean, spiritual awakenings they can be intense for a lot of people. They can feel really strange. And I always say validation of your weirdness is what expands your consciousness. Find the people that can understand your weirdness. Go into places where people respect what your visions are and what you believe in, because when you're received on that level, it helps you to expand who you truly are.
Yes. You got to find that community, the weird community.
Yeah. And it reminds me of that phrase that I don't remember what the phrase is, but it's the idea that it depends on your environment where you are, your worth in that environment. Maybe you're a bottle of water that's free somewhere, but you could be actually in a really fancy restaurant and you're worth like $4. That's 4 times more,
Your value. Yeah. Like the airport water, but you'll buy it because like that's the environment you're in. 100%. You're so right.
Surround yourself with the people that see you as
airport water.
As airport water. Weirdness and all.
Oh, absolutely. And it lights you up. I think when you have these weird conversations and then it's validated, like, yeah, I had that really weird thought as well, or I had that thing happen to me. And I think something genuinely shifts in the quantum field when you express that truth about yourself. So have more weird conversations. Yeah, speak out your truth more.
T-shirt idea, have more weird conversations. I love it.
Yep, next t-shirt. We keep coming up with like these random t-shirt ideas. One of them was intuition saves lives. So we're keeping a list and eventually we're going to open a store. So
manifest that.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question I had from one of our followers was, I feel like sometimes I can connect with a past loved one, but it goes away so quickly that once I connect, I feel like I don't want to breathe or move in fear of disconnecting.
Oh, okay. That's expectation. So when you connect into the spirit world, you can't have expectations as to what they're going to tell you or show you. You just have to be open to receive. And that's the first step, truly. When I connect into the spirit world, I never try to control it. I am just an open channel. Whatever they want to show me, whatever they want to tell me, I know that that's for the client's greater good. So yeah, just releasing all expectations, being able to receive whatever information comes to you and just knowing that that's exactly what you needed to hear at the time.
More lessons in surrendering.
Yeah.
Karly, can I ask you real quick, how do you start that conversation? Do you just kind of say, okay, spirit, show me what this person needs to know? And then you just kind of receive images? How does it start?
So when I connect into a client's energy, the first thing that I'm doing is clearing my own energy. The best way for me to be a clear channel is that I have no distractions. I have so much peace in my own life. I ground myself. And so there's nothing that's mine before I go into a reading. And then when I connect to a client, basically I'm connecting into their energetic field. I can sense what's going on in their life at the present moment, what people are in their lives. I can get imprints as to what their personalities are like. And I mean, the information that comes to me, it can be from the clairvoyant realm. So there may be loved ones that come in straight away and I will just explain what I'm hearing, seeing, feeling. So I'm very visual. I'm a very visual psychic. I have cards, but I don't tend to lead with them. So with the clairvoyant information, it's like a movie screen that plays along the bottom of my screen. And the only way I could describe it is that I'm tapping into the conversation with my client and then I'm tapping into this movie that's playing along the bottom. So it's very visual for me. It's same with future information or past information. I can see that it's behind them or I can see that it's ahead of them. So I'm tapping into so many different levels and layers at the same time. And I have all the clairs. So vision, hearing, feeling, seeing, all of these different things, and they're just on. And yeah, I just say, look, this is for your greater good. This is for your highest path. Whatever comes to you is to help you and guide you, and just take what take what resonates. And yeah, I really fully trust the grace that comes through in a client session. It's always really pure. It's always really high vibrational. There's nothing bad that ever comes through in a reading. I get asked that a lot as well. I'm sure you will too, but never is.
So there's this one more question, but it was asked in multiple different ways. So I just kind of summed it up as one question for you. But is there a quote unquote test I can do to see if I have psychic abilities?
Honestly, meditation, there's no such test, but I'd say meditate is something that will help you connect to your intuition more, get into that practice, and then just trust the nudges that come. If you get some information for someone, say, hey, did you have a grandma that had a name called Mary? Just these weird things. Just be weird.
Just say it.
Have more weird conversations. Validate yourself. That's it. Meditate, have weird conversations, validate yourself.
Heidi and I love to have weird conversations at bars with random strangers. We'll just be like, hey, do you have a peanut allergy? Oh my God, I do. That has actually happened.
Yeah. And it's always something so totally random that's like, it's just more for validation for ourselves. And it has nothing to do with a message they needed. Like they all obviously already knew they had a peanut allergy.
Okay, just because we talked about it a couple different times, you mentioned you're psychic and you talk about teaching intuition. Can you maybe describe the difference between those two, or do you kind of see it as the same thing?
I think psychic ability is kind of like a heightened version of intuition. So if you trust your intuition more and more and more, you're going to trust your visions more. And some people are really quickly into the visual aspect of it. For me, it did run in my family, and I think just the way that I can process information helps me to tap into certain things that I can see for other people. But yeah, intuition and psychic ability, I truly believe that everybody has. They have the ability to tap into that. It just depends how much you trust yourself, how much you're willing to connect to that part. So meditation, making good choices for your life, you actually have to go through the initiation and you have to clear your path and live in authenticity before you can get access to these higher pieces of information. You have to live in authenticity and truth. And if you don't get that clarity. So yeah, I think if people want to tap in, it's just start with your own life, start doing things that serve you, and you're going to get to that next level 100%.
Yes.
Love it.
Heidi and I have always said that we think everyone has intuitive abilities, psychic abilities.
Yeah, of course.
We kind of compare it to a professional athlete, right? There's some people that are just born naturally athletic. Some people that want to be athletic, they learn about it and they hone their skills, they work on it and they train, they become great. And then there's some people that just absolutely hate sports, and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't mean that they couldn't do it. It just means that they choose not to.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is a fun little segment here. So the last interview we did with Victoria Jackson, she's from the UK, and on her podcast, she has some slang that she uses that we as Americans didn't know. One of them being put my hair up in a pineapple. And she thought it was hilarious because she thought everybody knew what putting your hair up in a pineapple meant.
Oh, I thought it was so cute.
It was so cute. I loved it. But so I wanted to Google some Scottish speak breakdown.
Oh, I love it.
To see if you could kind of give us the lingo on this. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, this was a lot harder than the British speak breakdown, which was like chuffed and cheeky Nando's and so, like easy stuff. And I'm probably going to butcher some of these things. And I honestly don't even know if they're real life. So you're going to have to
You'll tell us.
let me know.
Let's do it.
Okay, so
I'm going to take notes because when I go to Scotland, I want to say all of these.
yes. Okay, so I read go get the messages, and it sounded like checking your voicemail or going to the mailbox. But is it true that that's what you call groceries and shopping?
Messages are groceries. Yeah.
That blew my mind.
My messages are expensive.
Yeah, same. Okay, so what does it mean if you call someone a ticket?
Like they're crazy. They're silly.
Oh, funny.
They're a ticket. Yeah.
Heidi, you're a ticket.
Okay, this is one that I'm probably not going to say correctly. Hochin?
Smelly.
What?
You did. You said it right. Hochin is smelly.
I'm going to say that to my son. He's been on like a farting spree today.
Exactly. That's a perfect word to describe that. Yes.
Frankie, you're hochin.
Oh my gosh, this is the best. Scoosh?
Scoosh like cream, cream that you get in a can, like scooshy cream.
Oh, like Cool Whip, like the
Yeah, we call that scooshy cream.
Scooshy cream. Well, it kind of makes that
because it
sound
makes that
when you-
noise. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Scooshy cream.
Scoosh.
I'm going to call it that
Scooshy
now. Calling someone a hen.
Oh, hen, I love that word. So it's an endearment. So like you would be hens to me. So if
Aw.
we're like close and friends, and it's any female that you're like you like or are close to, you call them a hen.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's like you create your flock of hens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, don't we call a bachelorette party a hen party? Or at least that's what mom did. Maybe it was like,
Yeah, I was going to say not our generation, but
that's so cute.
I love doing these interviews with people from different countries and hearing the different slang and lingo and all these things because I want to travel to Scotland, UK, all these places. And I want to, know a little bit of the lingo because some of it is very different. Is there anything that we say in America that's like weird to you?
We call it the petrol station, but you call it the gas station.
Yeah.
Groceries was always the one, taking the trash out. Oh God, there's so many. I've adjusted so much now, obviously, but actually that was something I found quite challenging when I first came to America because you guys are such good communicators. And although we both speak English, I think the way that the Scottish language is we're very direct and we just kind of say what we feel, but it can be aggressive. Like sometimes people think we're being aggressive. They love the accent, but we miss a lot of words out because we're kind of lazy that way. Whereas
Funny.
Americans, you guys, the way that you guys talk and explain things, it's very, I don't know, I feel like it's poetic in a way.
Or we just like to hear ourselves talk. So there's that.
You guys are awesome. Like I'm just totally at home in America.
Well, I'm glad you feel home here because we love you. And,
Yes.
maybe our paths will cross one day because we've got family in Arizona.
Really, see, I have no doubt, honestly.
Okay, so before we go, what is one thing that Sissy and I and our listener could do to support you in your mission right now?
To be honest, I just want to help as many people as possible. So if anyone is at a crossroads right now and they want some clarity, then they can obviously book a life coaching session with me or a reading with me. And all of that information is on my website, which is thepsychiccoach.com.
Perfect. We'll link everything in the show notes, and we are definitely signing up for some psychic
Oh my
readings
God,
from
yes.
you.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Karly, for spending this lovely hour with us. I appreciate it. I know your time is valuable, and you got your little baby cooking in there, so you got to go eat your breakfast that your lovely partner brought you.
Thank you so much, Karly. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, ladies. It was absolutely amazing and such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
What an insightful conversation. I absolutely love Karly. I love how she's so relatable, and you would never know walking down the street that she could just like pick up information on your grandma. She's so down to earth. And I think her story is one that we can all kind of see ourselves in some way, shape, or form.
So relatable. So relatable. Everything she was saying, I was like, yep. Even though I didn't work in corporate, like it still resonated with me deeply.
Yeah, for me especially it did, because I did work in an architecture firm that was very much about following structure. And I did express my masculine energy every single day, which it was fine. It had its place. But like she said, you also need your feminine side. You need to let go, surrender. And that was hard for me to do because I thought if I surrendered, I would lose my place in line. I wouldn't climb as fast. What really hit home was when she was talking about how intuition hits you in these three phases, like the nudge, the knock, and the rhino. And I think I had all three of those before I left architecture. I definitely had nudges here and there. The knocks were my health, and the rhino was my daughter's health. And then I'm like, oh, okay, this is outside of me now. I need to let this go. And that was also at the same time when we're talking about just doing something bigger for ourselves and for women around the world. And I'm like, all right, this is it. Here's my rhino, frickin' charge.
I kind of think I'm going to adopt Rhino instead of like we used to say the tower moment. We're having a tower moment. The tower moment is a rhino. And it bulldozes through your foundation and it just obliterates anything that you had that you were standing on, and you have to completely rebuild from the ground up. And for me, reading tarot, and sometimes when the Tower card comes up, it makes people feel uneasy or scared because the Tower can be seen as like a scary card. But I'm just going to tell people now it's just a rhino clearing way for new, better growth.
Like rhinos would be a little scary too. Like I don't want to be face to face with a rhino.
Jumanji. Jumanji rhinos just like popping out of the card, just like, I'm here to fuck shit up.
Either way, it's going to be freaking scary. And the point is, I think you got to just buckle up and embrace it and surrender. Like she was just saying, like, it's going to be scary, but on the other side of that rhino, on the other side of the tower, whatever you want to call it, there is abundance, there is joy, there is happiness waiting for you. Just get in that feminine side. Men, you too, get in the feminine side. It's okay.
I love it. What really stood out for me was when she talked about why we suppress our intuition. And it's that we always look outside of ourselves for answers. And as kids, we're looking to authority and adults. And I feel like, Sissy, you and I have talked about this before in one of our early episodes. And if we didn't, it was definitely talked about in the concept of starting this podcast of how we are taught as kids that we don't have the answers. Somebody else always knows better. Right? That was one of our big reasons for wanting to start this, was because we wanted to remind people that other people don't always know better. You know best because it's your intuition that knows. It's your inner knowing. And that is what's so important to listen to.
Facts. Yes. All right. It is time for Trust Your Tarot, Heidi. Tell us the messages we need to have for this week.
Okay. I'm not going to lie. Side note, shuffling has become very hard. I got my boob job, guys.
Yay! Surprise!
If you listened to episode, what was it? 6?
Yeah. Botox and boob jobs.
Botox and boob jobs. I really wanted a boob job because I had what I call slime boobs postpartum. I no longer have slime boobs, but it is really hard to shuffle. Anytime I use my pec muscles, it kind of hurts.
But you know what? Good for you for doing it. I was out talking to my friend and you texted me at that time the picture of you and she's like, what's going on? And I said, oh, my sister, she just got her boob job and she listens to the podcast. She's like, it's about damn time. She wanted that so bad. She doesn't even know you. It's so great. No.
I love it. Thank you for the support. It has been almost 5 years in the making. My son's going to be 5 in September. So, you know, healing is a process. Okay, so the first card that we have is the Page of Feathers, all about exploration and discovery. And it is the raccoon, very curious, very mischievous. And I feel like this is definitely our energy of the feminine and really being open to all these different possibilities and
stirring shit up.
Stirring shit up. Yes, absolutely. Oh, and this is hilarious. It's also paired with the 5 of Feathers, which is the armadillo. And this one represents strategy and resilience. And that one was in the resistance position. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like we're throwing away strategy. And this is our surrender. This is literally the cards telling us to surrender to the universe and stop trying to strategize, stop trying to be all perfect with your armor on, ready for anything, because, you know, we're just going to be a little mischievous because the universe has the plan. And I didn't even see this last card. It's number 15, the Shadow. And it is represented by the coyote, and it is self-empowerment and ambition.
Hell yeah.
And this one is all about embracing your intuition and also doing that hard work, doing that shadow work, that inner child healing, all of the stuff that we are trying to avoid. But it's calling us out that we need to surrender to the process and trust the universe, but also do our own shadow work. And, you know, if you need help with some shadow work, I do some tarot on that. So check us out on our TikTok. I do TikTok lives on Mondays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
You also do personal readings too.
I also do personal readings. Remember, hit up my DMs. Check out our website. All the links are in the show notes. But yeah, we're trying to fill the books so we can be like Karly.
Please fill our DMs. Please, we're not desperate at all.
Nope. There is no lack mindset here.
No scarcity here.
All abundance all the time.
We will be fine. But if you do want to schedule something,
we won't say no.
Well, until next time, it's your move, sis.
Make it count. Bye.
Bye.